One of the greatest guitar players ever from around here and most of the world. How about a big hand for our friend Cliff Gilbert?
Thank you.
How old was you when you started playing?
Well, I started playing violin at 3, and when I was 4, I was making money at it.
There you go.
And I played the violin for quite a few years, and then the electric guitar came out in, I think it was around 1934. And I heard the electric guitar and I said, now that's what I want to play. Well, as soon as I could afford one, I got one and started playing it, and I've been playing that ever since.
Well, what one of them cost in them days?
Gee, I don't remember. I think my father bought it for me.
Do you remember what kind of guitar it was?
Yeah, it was a nice guitar. It was a Gibson.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, who was your first teacher? How did you learn?
Well, I learned strictly on my own. I never had a teacher. And then later on, I started teaching myself to read music. And so then I was able to do teaching. So I taught guitar for a lot of years.
Taught Jim Elpin, didn't you?
Pardon?
Taught Jim Elpin, didn't you?
Oh, yes, yes. Jim Elpin, yeah, and he turned out to be a great player.
Oh, yeah. He worked in my band for a couple of years. Jim passed a couple of years ago. Awesome player. And you was his teacher.
Yes.
Who were some of your favorite players?
Well, there was a lot of great players that I enjoyed listening to. One of my favorites was Les Paul. And out in California, I used to go listen to Spade Cooley, and he had several good teachers, good players rather, and he had a real fine steel guitar player that later on I had in my band I hired him to come up here to Flint for a week. Noel Boggs, his name was.
Oh yeah, Noel Boggs.
Great player.
Yeah. Did he have pedals?
Pardon?
Did he use pedals? No pedals in those days?
No pedals in those days. There wasn't none. But he was a great player.
Everybody can hear
Well,
him.
hello, Cliff. I don't know if you remember me, Don, but we've known each other for quite some time.
Oh, I'm having a great time.
Don Corth.
I just was, listening to watching and listening to you play on this video here. I definitely heard some Les Paul influence in your playing, but I also wondered if maybe you listened to Django Reinhardt much.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I just kind of wondered if Django might have influenced you at all.
He was one of my favorites too. I think every guitar player for many years tried to copy his stuff, but the style he played was almost impossible to copy for anybody.
Yeah. What talent.
He was great, one of the greats.
That's, if anybody doesn't know, this is Donnie Corth. He's a great guitar player too here local, works with Ron Trombley in Eastern Standard Time. Jazz player, an old retired somewhat country player too a little bit. Great guitar player.
I want to hear about his work with Fender, how he got hooked up with Fender.
Well, I went to one of the conventions, and I was trying out the guitars, and their booth was right next to the, trying to think of which one it was, Rickenbacker. And so I was trying the Rickenbacker first, and then Rickenbacker wanted to hire me, and then I went over and was trying the Fender guitars, and so they hired me right there, and I just finished playing there for them the rest of the day, and then they would contact me and send me all over different states and different countries and everything else. I had a great time. All I had to do was sit down and play the guitar during the day. Yeah, I had the nights free to go out.
About what year was that?
Pardon?
About what year was that when you started with Fender?
I started in 1958 with Fender. And then I moved out to California, you know, where the factory is there in Fullerton. And the main office was in near Anaheim, California.
How many years were you with Fender?
Oh, I was with them for about probably 6 years.
Okay.
They sold out to CBS, and then, of course, they were bought out by the Japanese, and everything changed then. But it sure was a nice job while it lasted.
Have you got some family here? How much family?
Oh,
Raise your hand if you're, there you go. We wanted to see your family there. That's all. Cliff's family?
there's
All right.
there's two of my daughters there.
Two of your daughters.
And the
okay.
rest of them are my son-in-law, of course. Can't leave him out. The children are my great-grandchildren.
All right.
Do you still get a chance to play at all, Cliff?
Well, I have a hard time playing now because I have deterioration in both shoulders, and it bothers my nerves, and I can't control my hands or my arms very well. So it kind of took over my playing, so I don't play anymore. Once in a while I play a little bit at home, but I don't even enjoy it.
Anybody got any stories they'd like to share about Cliff, working with him maybe in the past, or seeing him perform? Maybe he owes you money? Anybody?
Watch the hands.
There's a hand up. Just kidding about that part about owing money, Cliff.
Cliff, this is Bob Lowe, and I apologize for my voice tonight. And you're probably one of the few people I would have gotten out of the house for today because I got a sinus infection. The doctor told me yesterday I really should stay home. But I wanted to mention that the first time I ever heard Cliff play was a little banquet hall down in Pontiac, probably close to 35 years ago or so. And the thing that really impressed me about Cliff was the fact that he didn't seem to stay with tradition. I read a piece in the Rolling Stone magazine several years ago about how that musicians come in all sizes, colors, and flavors, and they'll wear their hair in all sorts of colors and spiked it, got all kinds of piercings and so forth. But when it comes to guitars, they pretty much are traditional. Fender Strat, Les Paul. But here Cliff came along and he was playing a headless guitar. I couldn't believe it. I thought, man, this is something else. Because he was the one that inspired me to go on and build several guitars myself. And then a few years later, I saw him here and there at jamborees, and it's just the fact that he was brave enough to buck tradition and just do his own thing. And then when I found out all the inventions that he came up with, it just impressed me even more. So I thank you for being an inspiration to me.
I don't think Bob has to apologize for that voice. I've been in radio for 35 years. I wish I had a voice like that. Could make some money with that voice.
Drink more.
Drink more? Is that what you said?
The,
That's the secret.
Gary Gerson said something about you having the patent on the wah-wah pedal for a while?
No, not the pedal. I used to do that from a control that I put in my guitar.
Oh,
I done it from the guitar with my hand instead of the foot.
Oh, okay.
I want to say something about Mr. Bob Lowe.
Sure.
I was just talking. We done a TV interview here a few weeks ago, and Bob was the interviewer on that show. And also the other Bob DeLand over there, he was on the interview also.
All right.
Which we have on YouTube now.
We got the video here today.
Yeah, we got the video too. We'll play it in a while.
Oh, I see.
But if you don't get a chance to hear it here, Cliff is saying they have a YouTube video of the TV show with Bob DeLand and Bob Lowe with Cliff. So for you computer folks, YouTube.
How about some of the favorite musicians you've played with over the years, Cliff?
Oh gosh, I can't remember all of them, but when I was working for Fender, I and Speedy West used to play together most of the time. And I done some work when I invented the echo chamber. I was up in Nashville playing, and Chet Atkins come along, him and Buddy Emmons. And so we sat down and had a big jam session, the three of us. And there's been a few others. Merle Travers, he used to play in my band out in California.
That's rubbing elbows with some royalty there.
I think all of them are in the Hall of Fame, aren't they?
I think so.
I think they are. Anybody else have any questions or stories they'd like to share? There we go.
Cliff, I think it was probably, 40 years ago that we became friends, and we've become real close here lately. But I think back to the middle 70s, when for a while I had a little band that played at Wiggs on the corner of Belsey and Atherton. And a fellow playing with me was one of your contemporaries, and that was Babe Trombley, and his son Ron is sitting here with us today. And one time I invited a bunch of guys over to my house to have a little jam session. You and Babe Trombley were there. And like I was telling these guys, it was my house, but I would have been paid to get in to listen to what I heard that night. And you've been a great friend to Judy and I for a number of years now. We love you. Oh, if anybody has any ailments, Cliff is kind of he's not a healer himself, but he has a method. He has something, and so if you want to ask him sometime, if he can help you with your arthritis, he'll show you what to do.
His medical stone, is that what, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I seen the other one before too.
Yeah.
I got a crooked finger here. Is there anything you can do with that?
Oh, this
Get a
don't
picture
heal
right
anything.
That's all right.
Who are some of your favorite local players you heard around here and played with?
Gee, I thought they were all good, all of them. They're all good players. One thing Flint was lucky for, they had lots of good musicians.
Oh, yeah.
I could name a lot of them, but some of them I forgot their names. But in fact, we have a lot of them here tonight. And some of them are playing with your band.
Yeah.
How many musicians are here tonight that have played with Cliff? Raise your hand if you played with him. It's a good assortment.
How many played because they wanted to?
How many musicians are here? All the musicians, raise your hands. Hey, there you go.
Can I raise my hand?
Yeah, raise yours, but you better raise yours. Didn't you, somebody said something about you designed or invented the mute for the Fender guitars?
Yes, for the Jaguar and the Jazz Master. I designed the mute that's on those guitars for Fender.
Was that the felt thing that popped up and down at the bridge?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I had one of them.
Yeah, they work quite well.
Yeah. So you were the one that designed and invented that?
Yes, I gave him the design for it.
Okay. The Guitargan, did you?
The Guitargan, I invented the Guitargan also.
Yeah. Fellow Bob Autry played around one of those around here for years, and it was a great instrument. A guitar that sounded like a B3 organ.
Well, it had a full organ built inside the guitar.
Wow.
And it was just a thin guitar. It was like a Thomas organ.
Yeah.
Very nice, and you could play it by just fretting the guitar. Or you could play the guitar and the organ at the same time, or play either one of them separately.
Oh, okay.
It was a great thing. I played one for a long time.
You also invented a folding guitar, right?
Oh yes. I have this fold-up guitar. Now most of you musicians know what a Les Paul Gibson looks like, and it was made like the Les Paul Gibson, and it folded all up and fit in a trumpet case.
It stayed in tune when you opened it back up?
Oh, when you opened it, it was all in tune. You're ready to go.
And that brings me another question. I read something about you invented a tune-o-matic guitar, a guitar tune itself?
No, I didn't invent that.
Oh, okay.
I missed out on something.
Oh. Well,
if I would have known how to tune a guitar, I'd have probably invented that.
Rosemary's got a little story she'd like to share, and she's got some beautiful old black and white photos here of Cliff and Bud White and all kinds of old photos from the past that you can come over and check out if you got a minute. What's your story, Rosemary?
Well, at one time, I brought my husband a mandolin banjo, and unfortunately we were around Flint at the time, and Flint likes to invent things. So he took the mandolin banjo apart and put a bowl inside, and really liked the sound a lot better with the bowl inside.
bowl in there, a little resonation. The bowl created a little resonation in there, huh? Yeah.
You know, I come out to listen to you play to your band out there at the Eagles, and I just want to say that you have a great band. Oh, you fellas are great.
Thank you, Cliff. We appreciate that. I've been lucky and kept myself surrounded with talent better than me. That's the secret. Yeah, that's right. Keep them working too, yeah.
You know, you mentioned steel guitar players. We got a couple of fair ones right here. Mike
Yes,
Kyle and Dick Palmer here. Dick?
Yeah.
Clifford, back when I was trying to learn to play guitars, I'm from Vassar, and somebody told me, I think, what was his name, Joe Broyles, I believe, told me that there was a guy up in Bay City, playing at a little club up in Bay City, that was a real hot guitar player, and I should go up and listen to him. So I grabbed my wife on a Friday night, and we went up to this little bar, and you and another gentleman were sitting there playing music in this little dark bar. And I said, yeah, they're right. He was good. And then I lost track of you. But I'm sure glad that I got to see you back then. And this was in the 60s now. This was probably, I'm going to guess 67, 66, 67. But a great man and a great guitar player.
Well, gee, thank you. The reason you lost track of me is I moved out to California at that time, and we played out there for quite a while in San Diego, Los Angeles, and a few other places. And then I got tired of that and came back here to Flint. And I'm still here. I can't get enough money to leave. Well, that's one of the things that happen in life.
Yep. I always end up back here.
You know, Craig, as I was wandering around, I was asking a lot of people if they had any questions or if they played with Cliff, and no, we're just here to support him and show the love. I was talking to George Winters back there in the corner, and Marty Campbell, and Johnny Ralph, and some of the newer players. They've been around a while, but they're kind of new compared to Cliff, and they just said they never got a chance to play with him, or some of them not even hear him, but they're just here because they've heard of him and they respect him, and just show the love here tonight. I think that's a great thing.
Yes, it is. Donnie Sexton back there, his father was one of the greatest rhythm guitar players I ever heard, Sonny. Those guys used to put up with me when I was a kid, coming in the wagon wheel trying to learn how to play. You know, I'd come in and they go, oh God.
You know, you were asking me a minute ago about how I learned, but I was lucky. I got to work with real good musicians when I was just starting to play, and I learned quite fast, so they all put up with me. And I really learned a lot from those guys.
Who are the fellows that are playing with you on the DVD?
Oh, the one there was Frank Tricky. He's an artist at playing chords.
Oh yeah.
And he's in Texas now. They live down there. But he was a great player, and we did a lot of work together.
Okay. Who was the other guy?
Now the other guy was from Georgia. His name was Bud White, and he was also a great player and a good singer.
Is that the guy in the picture back there, the guy back there?
Yes,
oh, okay.
That's the one in the picture.
Beautiful picture.
When we took that picture, we were playing in North Dakota in the winter time. Our agent booked us up there, and it was 25 below zero, and I had to get up early in the morning to go down and get that picture taken. And I was griping all the way there. Who wouldn't gripe it?
Yeah,
Early in the morning at 25 below zero, but that was every day.
Yeah, it was. I played there myself. Fargo, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Holy smokes, cold. We think we had a bad winter here. It's something.
Yeah.
That's every year out there, isn't it?
I think it even showed in that picture that I was still angry.
The style of playing you do, I see the Frank and Bud doing chord melody type stuff. Where did you learn that from? Did you?
That's just something you learn as you learn to play. I hear all other guitar players, and I learn something from every guitar player I listen to. I don't care how well they play, they'll know something that I don't know. Everybody has their own style of playing.
I think everybody agree with that. All the musicians agree with that. You can learn from anybody, and there's always a faster gun around the corner too in there.
Oh yes, there certainly is. I've enjoyed my life playing music, and if I had it all to do over again, I'd do it again, just the way I have. The only difference, I wouldn't marry the women I married.
How many are we talking about, Cliff?
I've been married 4 times. I'm a slow learner.
Are you looking for number 5?
Well, I wouldn't say I wasn't.
Do you get a chance to listen to country music on the radio, and what do you think of it nowadays, Cliff? I almost hate to ask, but...
I think country music is great. I like it, and so many people love country music. And that's what I learned to play when I first started playing.
Got to keep your ears open to it all.
I sure did. You learn all the time, especially if you want to learn more. If I never was satisfied with what I know, I wanted to know more. And if you're ever satisfied with what you know at the time, that's as far as you'll ever go. I listen to a lot of musicians, and I think they're all good. They play different styles, and I like to hear that. I like all the different styles.
I think that's outstanding advice. Keep your ears open to it all. It's all good.
Oh, you know? Absolutely. And I learn from everybody I hear. I learn something.
The best musicians are the progressive ones, correct? The ones that progress.
Well,
stay with it.
I don't know about that. I like all types. I like jazz. I like country and some rock. I like. I'm a little too old for rock and roll, especially the new stuff. The new country? Well, I'm not too fond of that either.
They've been trying to get you to say that.
Well, really, I'd rather hear, like, say, George Strait. When he sang good old country stuff, he was popular. And now he's trying to do this new country, and he lost his popularity. But he still got the award.
Did you watch that the other night?
Yeah. No, I didn't watch it, but someone else did. I was over listening to you play.
Okay, that's right.
We've got a question, or maybe a little story, a comment from Renee, a good friend of Cliff's.
I took Cliff out to Columbiaville last fall to play music with Big Gene, and when we got home, I took Cliff's guitars upstairs, and I said, "What do you want me to do with these?" He said, "Oh, just put my instruments in on the bed, Renee." And then he started laughing. He said, "I think you're the first woman I ever told to put my instruments down and leave my bedroom."
Well, thank you. Yeah, Renee has been my good friend for quite a few years now. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't get any place. At least she comes around and picks me up now and then, gets me out of the house. Sometimes, since she works, she has to go home early, or she'll turn into a pumpkin.
You looking for somebody younger, Cliff?
Well, I don't think I should answer that.
Renee says you're out just about every Sunday night at, is it 629? Watching the band, enjoying that great live music.
Yeah, we do.
If she can catch you at home.
We always like to come out and listen to you and your band. You always have good musicians with you. Besides, you're a good musician yourself.
Thank you, Cliff. If you, what is other than keeping your ears open to all music, what's the best advice you could give somebody getting started learning to play? Would it be work with a metronome, work on scales, work on chords?
Well, I think if a person is first learning to play, they should take lessons and learn a few things about the guitar before they go on their own to play.
What helped your playing? What made you progress as a player more than anything?
Well, all my family on my father's side were musicians. All of them, every one of them. All they done was they play music and drink. I guess that sort of goes together, doesn't it? But since I grew up listening to them play, you know. That's why I started playing violin so early. The violin at that time was a popular instrument.
A little lighter to carry around too.
Yes, that too, but they were a loud instrument, you know. It was before amplified instruments and before PA systems came out. So the loud instruments were popular. The banjo was popular, saxophone, piano, violin, and that's why they were popular, because they didn't have to have amplification.
Right. Accordion.
Oh yes, accordion. I love the accordion, but you know, there isn't many accordion players anymore because they're so heavy and they rather sit down and play the organ.
Right.
Or piano. But there's a girl up in Bay City that plays the accordion real well. She's still plays good. She's about 85, I'd say.
Oh.
Still a good player, and she plays the accordion. She won't give it up for nothing.
Did you ever hear that guy all the way at the end of the bar play piano? The guy they call Smoking George? You know who I'm talking about?
I do, but I've never heard him play piano.
No?
I'd like to, but...
Yeah, he can certainly tear it up.
Yeah,
Can he play?
I would love to hear him play. I like any instrument if it's played well.
Yep.
I don't care what it is. If it's played well, I like to listen to it.
Well, you got that mic back there, Dan? Everybody pretty quiet back there, huh?
Yeah. Just listening, enjoying his stories.
I see our buddy H popped in over here. You got a question? Anything you want to... a memory or anything that you want to fire at us about Cliff? No?
Renee told me another one, but I didn't think we should share it on the microphone.
No?
There's kids here. We've got a young man right here.
I've been forced to listen to this man's music all my life. Played with my dad and several other people. A lot of them you've already mentioned. Well, it's the time of year, Easter time, and there's an Easter story about this guy.
Put that microphone up a little closer.
A little closer?
There you go.
Okay. I was about 4 or 5 years old. It was Easter Sunday, and I wake up in my grandparents' house in Elmwood Park, Michigan, and everybody says, "Well, Jesus is supposed to come back." Cliff Gilbert showed up with a rabbit. So he shows up there, and it's Easter Sunday.
I know a lot of you folks have heard of Lucky Sykes. He was a great singer and a very good musician. Anyway, this is his son, Don, which I haven't seen in many years, probably 30.
Oh no, maybe 2 or 3 at the club. My sister's here too. The other one's not here. But I'm sure glad that I could come to this event. My sister told me. Love it, man.
It's a pleasure to see you.
Glad that I can come to be here with
In
you.
fact, the way my eyesight is, it's good to see anybody.
Well, thanks for coming, Don.
I understand this was supposed to be a surprise tonight, right? But Cliff had somewhere else he wanted to go tonight, and they had to talk him out of it to be here.
Yeah, he was going to Wyoming.
Michigan or the state?
I don't know. Is there a Wyoming, Michigan?
Yeah,
there is.
Apparently it was the state.
State. Maybe do some bear hunting out there or what? Looking for wife number 5, maybe.
A little cold to go out hunting bear.
Yeah. Where were you going in Wyoming?
I don't know. You hunt with your clothes on, Cliff. I didn't mean that.
Where were you going in Wyoming?
I was in Wyoming, in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I played music down there.
Me too. The Ranchers or the $1 Million Cowboy. There was 2 bars there when I played there. The Rancher and the $1 Million Cowboy.
I can't remember which one it was now.
The $1 Million Cowboy had saddles for bar stools and silver dollars all over the place under the bar.
Well, I don't remember which one that it was. I was only there a week, 1 week.
I thought it was the most beautiful place I ever seen. What'd you think?
Oh, I thought it was beautiful. Yeah.
Jackson Hole. Wow, what a place.
It was a beautiful place. Then I went up to Montana and played. I didn't like all them cold states. It was in the wintertime.
I learned when you're going up into the mountains and you see a sign that says, "Put your chains on your tires."
Yeah.
You better put your chains on your tires.
That's a fact.
Renee said he was going out to Wyoming to see his daughter. That's why he was going out to Wyoming, but she said, put that off for a week or so. We got business this Wednesday.
Yeah, my daughter, one of them lives in Utah.
Utah.
Oh, okay.
Near
it's close to Wyoming.
Salt Lake City. Yeah, near Salt Lake. I'll be going up there probably in 3 or 4 weeks.
All right, well, great.
I went to pick them up 2 weeks ago and I called.
How many daughters do you have? You got 2 here.
I got 2 here.
1 in Utah.
And 1 in Utah. And then I have a daughter, 12 years old.
Hey.
Well, you don't quit while you're ahead.
Any sons? Do you have any sons, Cliff?
Oh, yes. I got 2. And my oldest one is 66. His name is Cliff also, same as mine.
2 sons, 4 daughters from 66 to 12.
Yeah. Yeah, I should be paying child support. But my ex-wife, has a lot of money, and she won't accept the child support.
Oh,
Cliff?
I didn't have one like that.
Do you have some recordings that we can hear? Some CDs or albums or anything out in the market anywhere? Some old 78s maybe?
I did have one, but it was with a small company in Owasso, and it's been a long time ago, back in 1947. And I done one called Steel Guitar Rag. We played. But I don't know, I haven't been able to find one of them, and I kept several of them, but I guess I gave them away.
33 1/3 or 78?
They were 78s.
78s. We got Johnny Ralph back here. Wants to ask a question here. Johnny?
Hey, Cliff. I just want to mention back in the mid-'80s with Jeff's Music, they put out a promotion and you got Jethro Burns up. Somehow or another, he got Jethro Burns up to the Masonic Temple and you played along with him. He got you to back him up. And I don't know if you might recall that or not, but...
Yes, I do.
All right, good.
I recall that. A great player. He played mandolin.
That's right. He was in the $1 Million Hee Haw band.
Well, he says he's the best in the world, and I can't dispute it because I think he probably was. But he don't hesitate to tell you he is.
Well,
that was funny.
It was Homer, Homer and Jethro years ago, am I right? He was, okay, and, but I wanted to say that out of all the guitar players in this county, you're the only guy that could back up Jethro Burns the way you did, because some of them, me as a guitar player, I wouldn't have been able to hang with that guy. Boy, I tell you what, hats off to you, brother. Good to see you again.
Yeah.
That's Johnny Ralph from the Rodeo Drive Band. Johnny Ralph, the guitar player with the Rodeo Drive Band. Cliff, that's who that is, yeah.
Well, that's great. Yeah, he plays great guitar. Great guitar.
Yeah, he used to play with a band called CJ Left Us.
Who was CJ?
A handsome guy that had to run fast due to horse theft.
He left us.
Well, anybody got it? Anybody else want to? Oh, well, here comes a couple there. Now they're raising them hands. Here we go.
Hey, Cliff. I'm going to sway off the music path just for a minute. And one of other passions that he has is going to the casino. And he calls it the Soar Eagle. And Cliff and I went on the bus about a year ago up there. And I'll tell you, for a little guy, he never shuts up. He talked all the way up there and all the way back, but I'll tell you what, that was the most delightful day, Cliff, for me.
I was trying to keep you awake.
Yeah, you did a good job.
I wanted you to be alert when you start playing them slot machines.
Well, you are just the most interesting guy to listen to, I'll tell you. Anybody, just talk to Cliff, because he has got stories you wouldn't believe, and just absolutely interesting, inspiring, and I love you, Cliff. It was a great day. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the nice compliment. I appreciate that. I just about quit going to the Soar Eagle because I never win anymore. They won't let me win. And it's hard to play where you can't ever win. So I gotta quit donating my money.
Hey Cliff, Danny Odell here. I played with my dad a long time ago, Jimmy Odell. And I remember when I was just starting to learn to play steel guitar, he said, oh, you ever get a chance to see Cliff Gilbert? I said, see him. He says he picks a good guitar. He told me that, he says, Cliff, he said, for every note I play, he played chords over top of my notes. So I got to see you one time, like sometime back down at Ed Masterson's house, down around Detroit way. They were having a Labor Day party, and you came down there. And that was the first time I really got to hear you or see you pick. And I think you've been in the gym a little bit that day. Because I remember, but I was really impressed. But the thing is, I remember that when you got done picking up there, you were sitting on a stool, and I says, Cliff, you be all right? You want me to help you down out there? Or what, you gonna be all right to drive? And Cliff says, in fact, he said, yeah, I'll be all right to drive. It's just getting off the stool first. I gotta get done. And but you was really impressive that day. I just wanted to let you know that little. I remember that. That was about sometime in the late '90s.
I remember that too.
Okay. Okay, I'm done, Dan.
There were some good musicians there, and I enjoyed listening to them more than I did playing. But I'm a good listener now, better than I used to be. Because I don't play anymore, so I became a good listener. And it's great to be a listener. You hear a lot of things that you missed before.
Oh, I guess if nobody else has anything they want to tell us or ask you, we'll, oh, we got one back there, Dan.
Sorry.
I want to hear you tell them about the uniform that Bay City High School made for you when you were 6.
She said she wants you to tell the story about the uniform that Bay City High School made for you when you were 6.
Yeah, I was 6 years old and I was playing with the high school band. And at that time, that was in 1927, and they had a picture of all of us on the front page of the Sunday paper. Back those days, that was a big thing, you know. And they had uniforms. Everybody was dressed the same. And so I had to stop home from school every day. I went to a dressmaker there that they had making my uniform because there was nobody my size. And man, I was real small. So that's what she wanted me to tell you about.
A special small uniform.
I guess so. The only problem I had was the caps. They wore caps, you know, hats, kind. And the smallest one was too big, and I had it stuffed with paper and everything else.
Is that where you went to school at, Bay City?
Yeah.
Are you
right?
Are you from Bay City originally then?
I was born there in Bay City.
Born in Bay City. Okay.
And then we moved to Pontiac from there. Then I got tired of Pontiac, so I moved to Flint. And I've been here ever since.
There you go.
Well, Flint was a great place at that time.
We got one more person who wants to ask you something here. Go ahead.
Hi, Cliff. George Pearson.
Oh, George.
I was 15 years old when I met Cliff. He was living in a little travel trailer down in Pontiac way. He had a lean-to on his trailer, and it was about 6 of us went down there, and the trailer was only about 24 foot long. And they're all in the trailer park, we're out in the lean-to. And me being a smart kid back in them days, we got hungry. So got the refrigerator, made myself a sandwich. Hadn't even met Cliff yet. Then time rolled on, and I think you remember when we was having a jam session at my place, and Billy run you out. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning.
I remember when I think you were, what, 15 when you first came to my house over in Pontiac?
Yep.
And George was just starting to play the guitar, and I had just started playing. I didn't know very much of anything, but some people thought I was good. I sure had them fooled.
Well, I sure want to thank you for all the inspiration you gave me all these years.
Well, thank you. We was living out in Arizona when George and his wife came out and stayed with us a few days out there. We went over to Mexico. You remember that, George?
Oh, yeah. They said we're getting a wreck run for the border.
Oh, boy, what a time we had over there.
Where'd you go in Mexico?
We went just across the border over to Nogales.
Oh, Nogales, okay.
Yeah, because I was living in Tucson at that time.
Oh, okay.
Nogales isn't a very big bar, but they had this bar that used to be an old jail, and it was cut right in the side of a mountain. And then they made a bar out of it later on in years. And we were in there and all over the place. Pretty small place, but we had a great time looking things over and this and that. But we really enjoyed your visit, you and your wife, and we had a great time. So anyway, I want to thank you for coming up, George.
Yeah. Well, okay. We're going to let you visit.
Are you kicking me out of here?
No, no, we can stay here if you want to. You can do anything you want.
I don't know if we mentioned it or not, but he just celebrated his 92nd birthday back in December.
92 years old.
92. I hope I'm moving around that good when I'm 92.
December what?
December 4th.
December 4th. Okay. Well, okay. Well, thanks everybody for coming out. Thanks to the Burton Eagles, the trustees, and all the volunteers for helping us.
Craig, I do want to mention too that if you haven't signed the book when you first walk in the door over there by the exit door, which is also the entrance door, please sign the book so we have a record of everybody that was here tonight. I think it'd be kind of cool to get all the musicians up here and get a big group photo, don't you, Craig?
Yeah.
With Cliff right in the middle. All the musicians that are in the house tonight, come on up to the dance floor here.
Yeah, come on, you guys. George, lead them up.
And as always, late again, Wiz Feinberg.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming, for sure. Thank you all. Cliff,
yes.
Anything else you want to tell them before we wrap her up?
Well, no, I'm tired of bragging, so I'm gonna... Anyway, I'd like to thank all these fine people for coming up here to join us. And I'm sure happy to see all of you. Some of you I haven't seen in a long time, and I really appreciate you coming. And I want to thank you very much.